So today we're checking out these 3 different shoe racks. We have the 3-tier Aooda shoe rack, the 4-tier Vasagle shoe rack, and the 5-tier Oyrel shoe rack. Now out of all these, the one that's going to go ahead and store the most is of course going to be the 5-tier at 23 pairs of shoes and boots. Now it does have a side pocket, which is where we're able to fit 3 extra ones over here. If you have smaller shoes, it'll probably go ahead and fit more conveniently over here. Now the difference between this one and these other 2 is the fact that building it was probably the easiest because I didn't need any tools for this. But the problem with that is going to be these connectors. Whenever I go ahead and try and lift it, I can't because, again, all it is just attached with pressure. So I can't move it from up here. I got to go ahead and just slide it to move it. These other 2, the 4-tier and the 3-tier, since they are going to go ahead and be made with screws, it's more secure, so I can lift it up from here. That's pretty heavy. And then same thing for this one, I could lift it up too. Now the big difference between all these 3 would be this middle 4-tier, just because one, it's going to have the thickest poles over here, the thickest rods, as opposed to the other 2. And also it's going to have this wood right on top. So of course you can put shoes on top of it like I have here. Otherwise you could just use it as a table, so then it would kind of convert to a 3-tier. So over here, 23 shoes. Over here, I'm able to fit 12 pairs of shoes. And over here, I'm able to fit 15. So funny thing is the 3-tier can fit more than the Vasagle 4-tier. Now, the thing you can do with each of these is get an upgraded version. So this 3-tier does also come in an option of a 4-tier. This 4-tier does also come in an option of 5-tier. And it also comes in a longer version that's actually going to end up being longer than this 3-tier over here. And with this 5-tier, you also have an option for a 7-tier and 8-tier, so you can definitely fit a lot of shoes over here. Now, one cool thing about the Aooda is that if you do get 2 of these, you can actually just stack them right on top of each other. So right here, you can see it has the holes, and at the bottom, there's the other holes there, so it can just be screwed on top of each other. So instead of a 3-tier, you can technically convert it to a 6-tier, if you go ahead and screw the other 3-tier up on top. Now, if you're somebody who's just looking to go ahead and store as many shoes as possible, I definitely recommend the Oyrel just because, again, it comes in this 5-tier, 7-tier, and 8-tier. And one thing to note is that these spaces are going to be smaller than these other 2. This is about 6 inches, whereas on these other 2 would be 8. So this is going to give you minimal space as possible. So as long as you have shoes that aren't too big, they'll go ahead and fit in here comfortably. But if you do have boots, kind of like these winter boots, as you see, these are going to be too big and they would have to be squished inside here. Now, as far as sturdiness goes, I'm probably going to have to give it to the Vasagle simply because it has the thickest rods over here. It's made out of wood, and it just feels more secure. And of course, I can just go ahead and move it. I can put my hand on top of the wood like that. I can easily move it. I can even go ahead and sit on this and it has no problem bearing my 185-pound weight on it. Now the Aooda is also going to go ahead and be pretty sturdy simply because it's made out of this metal rod with screws, so I can go ahead and easily lift it up. There's no problem with it potentially breaking or falling apart. So an important thing for furniture, in my opinion, is making sure that the floor doesn't get scratched when you move it. And I'm going to have to give it to the Aooda simply because it has these rubber feet, so I know they're going to be protected from the floor. Second place, I would give it to the Vasagle. It does have these plastic feet that make it easy to go and slide over. And third place, this one, simply because it's just going to be the plastic connector, so there's no really other support there. Now, when it comes to looking at the actual woven fabric material, all of these are going to be pretty similar. Thickness is going to be very similar as well too. I believe this one might be slightly thicker, and this one here might be slightly thinner. Now, one big difference would be that there's no stitching on the side, so if it accidentally rips, it could keep ripping. Whereas over here, you can see that there is going to be some stitching here, and then same thing for the Aooda. Now, if I had to choose a favorite shoe rack out of all these, I'd probably go with the Vasagle, simply because, first thing, it looks the most premium looking. It just looks nice, mainly because of the wood up top over here, and it just goes ahead and matches with the wall and with the flooring. And it has a good amount of options too, so it still comes with the 4-tier here, or a 5, but if I wanted it longer, it also comes with those options as well too. And if you're somebody looking to get the most space out of your shoe rack and you're not trying to move it anywhere anytime soon, then definitely go ahead and check out the Oyrel. You also get the options for the 7 and 8 tier, so you can definitely fit a lot of shoes over here. But yeah, that's a quick look at the 3, 4, and 5 tier shoe racks.